Hey everybody, it's Marissa here. I'm getting ready to bake my delicious pound cake concoction that I've come up with. It's basically a delicious pound cake with crushed Oreos and a fudge brownie layer. Wrap your mind around it. I'm gonna take you through the steps with this YouTube video, so I hope you enjoy it. The easiest thing to do is to get all your ingredients out, ready to go. Make sure your eggs are at room temperature and your butter is softened. Okay, so as we get started, we're gonna go ahead and get the butter and also the shortening, and you're gonna cream it together. It's gonna take a little bit, but scrape down the sides and make sure you get everything. And now I like to sift my flour with sugar or any kind of like salt or baking powder, just make sure everything's blended. It gets it nice and fluffy. I'm gonna go ahead and start adding the eggs one by one, creaming that all up, making sure I scrape the sides, and always making sure that the speed is going pretty fast. I'm gonna go ahead and add flour and milk, alternating. So you're gonna add a little bit of the flour mixture, and then you're gonna add some milk. You're gonna blend a little bit more of the flour mixture as it incorporates and you scrape the sides. Then you go ahead and add some milk. So you're just gonna keep alternating dry and wet, and you're gonna have a nice thick batter. It's gonna be awesome. Then there's vanilla. I don't really measure, but I like a little more vanilla. And as you can see, it's nice and creamy. I'm gonna go ahead and I spray my pan with the flour spray for baking. It's just so much easier. The cake comes right out. I'm gonna fill it a little bit less than halfway because it does rise. And then I'll have half a batter left, and I can make another cake with the other half of the batter. Okay, so really important right now, once the cake, half of the pound cake goes into the oven for 30 minutes, maybe 35. As soon as it starts baking and it looks a little more stable, we are going to go ahead and put the Oreos on top and fudge brownie. It has to be fudge brownie on top of that. So you gotta make sure you bake your cake and it looks a little bit more stable so the Oreos don't go to the bottom. And so while that's baking, we're gonna go ahead and start crushing our Oreos and getting our brownie batter ready. All right. So you want to make sure your Oreos are really crushed up. You might need 2 bags of Oreos to make your second cake. Go ahead and follow the directions on your fudge brownie box. Just give it a stir. Here's the fudge packet. Again, this is going to give your brownie texture a little bit more fudge consistency, so it will seem like it's wet, even though you take it out of the oven after 30-35 minutes. But again, let it sit and the cake will go ahead and continue to cook. So you just don't want to overcook that pound cake. And the pound cake comes out halfway, 30 minutes cooking. You put the Oreo layer, and then you're going to go ahead and put the brownie layer. It's going to get filled to the top, but don't worry, it won't overflow. Again, buy 2 boxes of brownies to make that second cake because you have leftover pound cake, leftover Oreos. What can go wrong with 2 pound cakes? Nothing. So this is going to go back in. Okay, so I went ahead and put the layer of Oreos with the layer of brownie. So really important, you're going to stick that in there for 20 minutes, but because it's a fudge brownie, remember, it's not going to look like it's done all the way. Also, the inside of your pound cake is not gonna be done all the way. That's why we're still baking it another 20 minutes. Pound cake usually takes about 45, 55 minutes, maybe sometimes an hour. So that's why you wanna bake half of it, put the layers on, and then go ahead and finish off the brownie. Really, really important is that when you go check, sometimes it's gonna seem that it's like a little bit wet still. That's okay. When you take it out and it sits for like 15 minutes, it's still baking. So it is gonna have a little bit of a gooey texture. Don't freak out. That's what makes it delicious. So anyway, hope you guys enjoy it. I like to top it off with some caramel, powdered sugar. You can make a glaze, whatever you feel like topping it off with, go for it. Take it up a notch. And what you end up with is a great brownie layer. Let it rest for 15 minutes and then flip it over. And you can see the layers there. And some gooey, ooey fudge. Enjoy, guys.